flying Sickles, thank you. Fighting back. Come on, do your combo. Come on, use flying Sickles. Do it, thank you. I'm just gonna get that M1 combo. He's using flying Sickles. Right on the get up. Sickles users are so predictable. Like, all of them are predictable. None of you do anything different. All of you are the same cookie cutter people who cannot do anything different. So today I'm here to talk about Sickles, which is by far one of the most predictable movesets in the game, at least when it's used by noobs. And noobs make up a large population of the Rogue Demon community. So today, I'm going to teach you how to counter Sickles, because I see a lot of people kind of hating on this moveset because it's really annoying. And honestly, they're right. It is annoying to fight against, because that's the main playstyle that most people use. They always tend to run around, and then play for cooldowns, spamming that one flying Sickles move whenever they're neutral, or using rampage whenever you get close up. However, that playstyle does have a really big flaw, which is that it's really predictable. In this video, I'm going to tell you about all of the patterns that Sickle users use, so that you can figure out how to counter it really easily the next time you see one. Before that though, remember to like and subscribe for more content that's just like this. Now, let's get right into the video to not waste any time. Alright, so the first thing you need to know when fighting Sickles is that flying Sickles is basically their go-to move. They're going to use this as their main thing. Whenever you're in neutral, always watch out for this move. If you're just standing around fighting them, they're probably going to throw it out. And when they do, hold block. That's basically the main strategy for fighting Sickles. Every single Sickles user in the game usually gets countered by the F key, because that thing basically shuts down all of their moves, except for Blood Rage, Circular Slashes, since that is their evasive of course, and for very good Sickles users, M1 block bypasses. However, if your opponent doesn't have any idea on how to bypass block with their M1s, they're not going to be able to do anything if you hold the F key. So, depending on who you're fighting, literally just press block and they cannot do a thing. So, flying Sickles is basically the move that they're going to use to shut you down. If you're trying to rush them down and flying Sickles is off cooldown, you can expect them to throw it out. The reason why this is because flying Sickles is a great move. It has hyper armor. Well, it's frame run. It's practically frame 1, meaning that you really cannot react to it. It also has hyper armor, meaning that you basically just can't interrupt it either. And depending on when they use it, they can easily start a combo on you. Even from far away, because the stun is so ridiculously long. The stun on flying Sickles is enough that like they could be a mile away from you, and as long as they use it and then dash over to you, they've got a combo. So it's a great move. The only weakness of it is that it's blockable, and also kind of predictable in a way. It's basically like your average auto lock-on in how people will use it. But Sickles users will be a lot more reckless with it because they of course cannot be punished no matter what, since it's not like other auto lock-ons in the game that punish you for getting blocked. So basically just be on the lookout for this move. If you think they're going to use it while you're running around in neutral, just press the F key and boom, they've been shut down. Just wait for them to waste a move and you'll be fine. Though do keep a kind of internal countdown on when their move is off cooldown, maybe by looking at your own cooldowns to kind of keep reference, so that you know when it's off cooldown and when you're going to use it again. Meanwhile, rampant rampage is a lot more simple. This move is something you're going to spam whenever you're M1 trading. So if you're both close up and you're both spamming your mouse key, they're going to use this move to try and interrupt you and start a combo. And the reason why is because that thing has hyper armor on it. Like, basically, well, it's not hyper armor, but it's guarded. So when they're using it, they're automatically blocking. And for this, there's a couple of ways you can deal with it. One, you could either go up to them and literally just use a block break on them. If you have something like Roar or Waterfall Basin or Blazing Stun them too, you can use this and it'll block break them, which gives you a free combo. This is highly situational though, and also kind of dangerous if you screw it up, so I don't really recommend you doing it. The other option is to just back off when you think they're going to use it, or press the F key because this move is also blockable. That's the easiest and the safest way to counter it. So yeah, that's a pretty easy move to counter. Meanwhile, let's move on to Circular Slashes. which is the evasive, and this move sucks. It's complete garbage. So to deal with circular slashes, the way to deal with it is simple. If you see the move, you just have to dash back with your breathing bar charge really quickly. That's how it works. It's a pretty simple move to deal with because, well, that's how it is. It just has a little bit of a startup, and then after a little bit, they activate the move, and it'll knock anyone near them away, dealing like a little bit of damage. It's a pretty bad evasive though, because it puts the user in a lot of end lag, so if they screw it up, now they're open for a combo. Well, not a real combo if you were already comboing them, since your M1s don't get reset, but, you know, it'll still let you continue your combo as if nothing happened at all. So yeah, it's a really bad evasive and also pretty easy to deal with if you've got good reaction time. But even if you do get hit by it, it's no worry because it doesn't really do anything anyways. Finally, we have their ultimate, which is Blood Rage, and this move is interesting in a way because there's a lot of usages for it. Most people who play the game will literally just dash back, use the move, and try to snipe you with it, but that's pretty easy to deal with. Literally just dodge to the side and there's not really anything they can do. Unless they have ridiculously good aim, in which case, well, there's nothing you could do because, I mean, if they have good aim, you're not really dodging it. However, most people who are a lot better will tend to use it as a move stack. And dodging the move stack is very much situational, as in it heavily depends on what you're using. If you have an iframe move, such as Flowing Dance or String Performance M2, you can pop it and you will like go invincible and the move will not hit you. So that's one of the main ways you can deal with it. However, if you don't have an iframe, there's kind of only one thing you can do. You can try and mash the dash key and try and dash to the side as quickly as you can, but there's a problem with that, which is that it doesn't always work because, well, the projectile is pretty fast. So if they're quick enough on the draw, then you're not going to be able to dodge it in time. But even if you do get hit by it, it isn't a combo extender unless there's some very specific circumstances align, so you really shouldn't need to worry that much. It is, however, a lot of damage, so I still don't recommend getting hit by it. So just do your best to dodge it. If you see your opponent like running away to get space, they're either going to try and play for cooldowns for Flying Sickles or Rampant Rampage, or they're trying to use Blood Rage. If it's Blood Rage, then if you see them, then just try and like get yourself in a position where if you see them charging it up, you can jump on a cliff or something to like shield yourself from the move. If it's the former and they're playing for cooldowns, well, then that's where you have to be patient, because that's where the annoying part of fighting Sickles comes in. A lot of people who play Sickles will do something called playing for cooldowns, where they quite literally just run away and try to get their cooldowns on their moves back. To deal with this, it's a little bit tricky, because, well, if you play too aggressively, then they're going to pop Flying Sickles or Rampant Rampage, and now they've got a really big high damage combo on you. However, if you just don't do anything, then they've basically gotten a free heal, and also, they basically got all of their cooldowns back. So, you do have to do something about this. To deal with the running, you basically just want to kind of bait them. You want to dash over to them and hold block while doing so, to try and trick them into thinking that you're just rushing them down blindly, but so that they waste their move on your block. And if you do this right, they'll waste one of their moves, and eventually you won't need to worry about it. The main one you really need to worry about is Flying Sickles, because this move is straight up just kind of like unreactable, so you can only really predict it. Rampant Rampage is something that's a lot easier to deal with, because you can always just dash back to avoid it or something, or even just press the F key, but Flying Sickles has to be blocked, so be careful of that move. With Fighting Sickles, your main goal is really just to draw out Flying Sickles and then destroy them in that time where they don't have that move. That's how it really is. It's kind of like fighting Arrow if you fought Arrow before. So it's a pretty easy move set to deal with if you're fighting a bad player. Against the top tier player level Sickles mains though, things change a lot. And for that, you kind of just have to be better than them. Because people who are really good with Sickles will know how predictable it normally is, and will change things up, so that they don't be as predictable. So with those kind of people, you kind of just have to learn their own playstyle and learn to deal with what they do. There's a pretty common trick people do where they charge up Blood Rage, and before the move releases, they stop charging it up, use Flying Sickles while their opponent is running from the Blood Rage, and then now they've got a combo. So that's a trick you should probably be aware of so that you don't get screwed over. Anyways, that's really all that there is to say about fighting Sickles. It's a very predictable moveset and very simple to deal with because everyone's the same, really. They just use Flying Sickles in neutral, even against people who are holding their block, as you've seen in the previous clips. So, yeah. It's a moveset that a lot of people play the exact same. Anyways, if you enjoyed watching this video, make sure to like and subscribe so that you're notified of other content that is just like this. I'm Noob Eternally, and as always, I will see you next time in another video. Thanks for watching all the way to the end, and have a nice day. Bye.